everyone. Welcome to another video of our interview series. In this particular interview, we will be talking to the certified business analyst practitioners. The objective of these videos are to understand their certification journey in their own. So today we have Michael with us, and Michael is a CBAP certified business analyst. CBAP certification basically stands for Certified Business Analysis Professional, and it's not an easy certification to crack. It tests your business analysis proficiency in all the core. And this certification is basically conducted by IIBA, which stands for International Institute of. My name is Nitin, and I will be your host for this particular half of Techcanvass. So Michael, before we start with the interview, just want to understand your professional experience. So if you can tell our audience.
Okay, good morning here from here. So my name is Michael Uzu. Michael Uzu. So I have over 13 years banking experience. I'm a branch service manager in Nigeria, in one of the major banks in Nigeria, before I relocated to Canada in July. Like I said earlier, I have over 13 years banking experience, and it cuts across various departments in banking. From product development, I moved to treasury operations. From treasury operations, I moved to central clearing. And the last 7 years has been as a branch service manager, managing a branch, one of the major banks in Nigeria. I hold an MBA in financial management. And like you said, too, I added the CBAP cap, the CBAP feather to my cap in May 28th, to be precise, this year. So that's it for me for now.
Thank you, Michael. And when did you decide that you will be going for CBAP?
Okay, after spending about 13 years in banking, I just felt it's time to do something else. It's time to move higher. It's time to put all my experiences together and help begin to assist businesses and organizations. So I decided in August 2021 that it was time to do something else. And of course, with the relocation too in mind, that which other area am I going into? So I decided, I went through some studies. I read in the internet to see where I could delve into with my experience and everything. So I found business analysis came. I settled for business analysis. So and I decided to go for a training. So I decided in August 2021. So I decided to go for a training, and I did that training in October 2021. Now I haven't not done anything about business. Now, of course, based on experiences, some of the things we were doing, business analysis anyway, but of course, not that nomenclature as it is. So after the training in October, the whole of October into November, I did a training, of course, to prepare me for the exam and to prepare me for, to give me an insight, deeper insight into what business analysis really entails. So from there, I now started, and I decided I was going to write the exam. I finished my training, I think the first week in November. I decided I was going to write the exam in January. Of course, the rest is, of course, so many things came up, and of course, before I decided to write it in May.
Yeah. And how were you able to manage all these tasks, Michael? Because I feel that you must be working as well, and you were juggling between your preparation as well as your day-to-day job. So how were you able to manage that?
Yeah, I think that's a major challenge, and I think I have colleagues too that we started together, but they are yet to write the exam. It takes determination, and it's investment. If there's anything good in life, if there's anything good in life that needs to be achieved, there's a part of it. There's a part for discipline, and you have to invest in it. No good thing comes easy. So I made up my mind. Everything starts from the mind. I made up my mind I was going to write, like I said earlier, I gave myself a time that I was going to write it in January 2022. So I put in everything. Now, it wasn't easy. Now, to anybody that is listening to this, it is not easy. It is not easy. So it requires determination. So I was determined I was going to do it. Even when I get to the office, my spare time, I 1 hour or so, I use it for it to ensure that I think this way the Techcanvass test series was very handy, and I must give it to the Techcanvass the academic team, yeah, because I enrolled for a 90 days program. I purchased the test series for 90 days. I had it on my desktop in the office. I have it on my phone. So, like I said, discipline. I was disciplined. Why social media? Because in the generation where we are now, social media takes a lot of our time. But I make sure that before I go to any social media, before I check any of my social media notifications, I must do at least 2 drills. The sample questions from Techcanvass. That you see the 10 questions. I must ensure that I do like 2 or 3 before I venture into something else. So, and I think that, like you said, lots of sacrifice is required, but the discipline part of it, you have to give it what it requires and get it done and done with.
So basically, it's a continuous journey of hard work and determination which you have to crack this exam. And any moment where you felt that I can't do this, let's get it done. I'm not doing it.
I tell you, okay, this happened. I wanted to do the exam in January, so I bought the Techcanvass CBAP series in November, November 20th or so. So that I was so after reading the BABOK for like 2 or 3 times, when the training I had, so the confidence was there. And of course, CBAP is one of my first international exams. I've written other exams back home. This was my first international exam. So I was kind of pumped up and I was confident and so when I started the test series, I started practicing. The first results I was getting were quite low. With my reading of the BABOK like 2, 3 times, with the training that I had, I was quite surprised. And of course, I felt like, no, this wasn't meant for me. Okay, probably international exams are not meant for me. Let me just go back to, yeah. But of course, what the series does was that when I got those scores, I just left it for a while. But of course, like I told you that I was determined and I went back to it and I looked at the explanations or certain explanations that were given for the results. So I went back. It took me, served as a guide to go back to the BABOK. Why did I fail this? Why didn't I get this? So with that, I went back. So the first time I started getting very low scores, I was kind of taken aback and I felt this was not for me until I now went back.
Yeah, so basically it was a success for you as well as Techcanvass. Yeah.
Yeah. Thumbs up again to Techcanvass, and that's the availability of that on my system, the availability of that on my phone, the ability for me to answer questions. Because what it does is that you not only answer questions, it puts your mind in BABOK. So you've done 10 questions, you failed 3, you've gotten 7, or you failed 4, you've gotten 6. Why did I fail this for? So while you are driving home, while you are walking home, while you are taking a stroll, why did I fail this for? It's in your mind. So immediately you get home or you get to your study desk, the first thing that comes to your mind, why did I fail this? So I have to go back to it to read BABOK and get it better. So it primes your mind, it puts your mind, it keeps you focused on what needs to be done.
Glad to hear that, Mike. And let's go back to your exam day. Let's go back to the day when you wrote that exam. How were you prepared? How were you mentally prepared for it?
I'd prepared. I'd done so many practice questions. So I'd done like 3 simulations. Now I'd done like 3 simulations, 3 full simulations, because when you set the day for the exam, there's another level of preparation that it takes you to. So once the exam day was fixed for May 28th, my preparation too moved up another a notch further. So I started doing more of the 120 simulations. So I was getting 78, I was getting 70, close to 80. So I was getting 80. That's for the full simulations. Now for the test questions, I was getting 90, 100, 90, 95 there. But for the full simulations, you pushing the exam 120 questions, I was now getting 70, close to 80. So I knew I was set for this exam. So on the exam day, it was meant to be in the morning. Yeah, I wanted the test center, but the test center was not available in my city there, so I had to do the remote Pro exam. So I got my internet, very reliable internet, and so I went with 2 laptops, and of course, so when I got to the exam, on the exam day, I started the exam, and everything went well. I started well. All of a sudden, internet connection went off. And I was kind of, internet, this modem I'm using is very reliable. But unknown to me, a day before the exam, there was a power surge in my house, and the modem became faulty, not known to me. So it was no longer charging. So what I went to the exam was the power it had, the little power it had. So after it was exhausted, it went off. And of course, the system went off, everything went off. I couldn't connect. So tension came in. I was tensed. I was tensed and everything. Of course, I quickly communicated to the proctor. That is what transpired. So I now apologize to, and of course, we now have to get a backup. So for anybody that is going to write, as much as possible, test whatever you are going with, and ensure that you have a backup laptop, you have a backup laptop, and of course, if you have a backup internet connection, if you are going to do proctor, internet backup connection, so it's good. So I had to use the backup internet connection, and after then it went smoothly, and of course I passed it at the first attempt.
That's a really good tip, Michael. Any more tips which you want to share with our aspirants who will be watching this video?
When I got to the exam, I started the exam. What I noticed from the exam was that case study questions, the first 40 questions were case studies, where you have to read a passage before you now answer. To me, that didn't go well with me, because when you're studying an exam and you have to read before you answer, the tendency is that you begin to check the time. This is about how many minutes, and I've not answered questions. So what I did was to go to the question. I started the questions from the back. So I started from 120 backwards. So I think with that, I was able to answer the scenario questions. All questions are scenarios. There's no space. I answered the scenario questions until I got to 40 to 60 now. So I now went back to the case study questions. So with confidence, and so I now started from 1 again until I got to 40. So the first question you see are more of case studies where you have to read before you answer. So I felt that was not too comfortable for me, so I went back. And when I now went back, what I now discovered too is that the case study questions are not as difficult too as the others. So different strokes for different people. So for most of them, you don't really have to read the whole passage before you answer the question. So I also want to advise people, students to read the question of the case study. Read the question first before you read the passage. Read the question first before you read the passage. That will help a lot.
And how was life after CBAP, Michael? Did CBAP add any value to your professional and personal life?
Yes, and I told you I was switching roles, and of course I was relocating as well. So most of the jobs I've gotten feedback from was based on the fact that I have CBAP certification on my. So when they see that you're certified business analyst professional, the respect and the reckoning is different. So they call me and they say, you're CBAP certified. And I said yes. In May 2020, maybe yeah. I said yes. And of course the conversation goes to a higher level. And of course, personally too, for me, because CBAC is the business analysis is about bringing about change, and not just about change, but about changes that deliver value to stakeholders. So for me, even in my personal life, I'm beginning to analyze things. I'm beginning to bring about change, even in my personal life, family as well. How to bring about change that will deliver value to everybody related, all stakeholders. So to me personally, and of course in my career as well, people see in the office whenever there's a change. Before I left Nigeria, whenever there's a change, they are called upon. There's a need for us to change this. We know you are CBAP certified. Please assist us, help us get this, help us get what is required, help us look at what requirements are, what we need to do, and who we need to contact so that we get the change that is required. So it has been helpful personally and professionally as well.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing this beautiful journey with us, the journey which had ups and downs, which had a lot of hard work and determination. So thanks a lot and all the best for your career. It was great talking to you. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you very much, Nitin, and thank you to the Techcanvass Academy. Thank you very much.
You.